I think we've got to step back and understand that this country is $36.23 trillion in debt and running a $1.8 trillion deficit. That is not sustainable. The greatest national security risk that we've ever had in the history of our country is our debt.
President Trump moving at lightning speed in office for just 3 weeks. His administration working hard to cut government spending and make the most of taxpayers' money. Democrats pushing back on the changes, slamming Elon Musk's power in Washington. A federal judge blocking Musk's access to sensitive material from the Treasury Department's information system. And the president announcing he's becoming the chairman of the Kennedy Center, declaring himself the leader of the long-celebrated cultural institution and immediately terminating multiple members of the center's board of trustees. On top of that, Mr. Trump calling for President Biden's security clearances and to be revoked, and the former president to no longer get daily briefings. And NewsNation's own Kelly Meyer is reporting that the Pentagon is doubling the amount of media outlets forced to rotate offices inside the building. Plus, tomorrow, Mr. Trump becoming the first sitting president to attend the Super Bowl. It's a fast-paced administration, and we're on top of all of it as the action happens. Good afternoon. I'm Nick Smith in New York, and it's time for NewsNation Now. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem visiting those impacted by Hurricane Helene in North Carolina. Earlier today, she met with leaders from the nonprofit Samaritan's Purse. Noem is set to tour areas hit hardest by the storm and meeting with state officials and the head of FEMA. President Trump visited the state nearly 2 weeks ago. He has been critical of FEMA's response, but promises rapid reconstruction. Joining me now is Mayor of Burgaw, North Carolina, Olivia Dawson. Mayor Dawson, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today.
Mayor, Secretary Noem is in your state today. What can the Department of Homeland Security do to help residents recover in the efforts after the storm?
Well, happy to hear that she is touring the state today. I had the privilege of walking the grounds of Western North Carolina just a week ago myself, and to be there to help represent our communities and what the disasters that we have faced here as well. And so I hope that she is able to help move us forward, that we can speak for our community and how quickly we need the assistance to make recovery happen a lot better for our communities, to help our residents and to help our small businesses.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Trump has been critical of FEMA's response. Here's what he had to say during his trip.
FEMA just hasn't done the job. And we're looking at the whole concept of FEMA. I like, frankly, the concept when North Carolina gets hit, the governor takes care of it. When Florida gets hit, the governor takes care of it, meaning the state takes care of it. To have a group of people come in from an area that don't even know where they're going in order to solve immediately a problem is something that never worked for me.
Madam Mayor, this seems to make a lot of sense that those who are most familiar with the area would lead the charge in the recovery efforts. Do you think recovery relief should be left to the state? And if so, why?
I absolutely agree. I think we've learned a lot from our disasters in our area where FEMA has been there to help. On many occasions, they have helped, and on some occasions, they have not. It does make good sense that our state takes care of our states and our communities, and that we have folks in our community that are able to assist, that know our citizens, our residents, our communities, and how they need to work to move forward. Bringing in.
And Mayor Dawson, what are your constituents telling you about what they're seeing there on the ground? I mean, your state's governor is requesting more than $1 billion in funding to rebuild Western North Carolina. Are you optimistic that funding will be granted, and are people on the ground seeing those efforts come forth?
I am very optimistic that this funding is going to come through. There are many representatives and leaders pushing to have this funding in our communities, that it is helping our communities, the residents, the small businesses, those that really need this. So I definitely think that they will make this happen. I know that they will. We just need to make it easy for those to access those funds. And that's what is most important. And a lot of us are advocating for. Let's make it easier to make that funding really affect our communities and get our communities rebuilt quicker.
Cut through some of that red tape that we keep hearing so much about. Mr. Trump calling for, quote, rapid reconstruction. Let's take a listen.
I'll also be signing an executive order slashing all red tape and bureaucratic barriers and permits to ensure the rapid reconstruction of the roads here in western North Carolina. We're going to go through a permitting process that's called no permitting, just get it done.
And Mayor Dawson, is it possible to slash permitting processes without having major concerns over the safety of construction?
I think that is going to be temperamental. We do need to make sure that we're doing it correctly, but we do need to make sure that the process isn't lengthy, that we're moving that process along as quickly as possible, but that we are considering all the challenges that it may come with the permits that do allow for those things to be monitored or looked at. So we need to make sure that we're just doing that effectively and efficiently.
Mayor of Burgaw, North Carolina, Olivia Dawson, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
And turning to President Trump, making Super Bowl history as the first sitting president to attend the game that has become a national tradition for more than 100 million Americans. More than 70,000 fans will fill Caesars Superdome in New Orleans to watch the Kansas City Chiefs face off against the Philadelphia Eagles. The teams are making final preparations ahead of tomorrow's Super Bowl rematch.
I think that's going to be a big part of the game, is being able to, keep the tempo, the momentum on our side, and not let them get an inch, man. And that's going to be tough, man. This is a good team.
This is a great opponent we're about to play. A really good opponent, well coached, great players, smart, and it'll be a great challenge for us. And I think for us, regardless of what the position is, it's just about controlling what we can.
Controlling what they can. Woo, it's going to be a lot to control. NewsNation's Xavier Walton is live in New Orleans with the latest buzz on the game, the fans, and the advanced security measures in place for this historic game. Xavier, I know that you're surrounded by fans. I saw that earlier. The energy seems to really be up in New Orleans right now. But what is the mood, and how are things happening where you are?
Hey, Nick, well, as soon as the sun came out, so did all those tens of thousands of fans. And I'll be completely honest, this is just going off what I've seen out here for the last few hours. I kind of get a sense that they're actually more Philadelphia Eagles fans. I want to walk across the street just really quickly here. I want to show you something. This is the Chiefs Hotel. This barrier, listen to that. This was put up about a week ago. Think about that, all in anticipation of the Chiefs being here, all in anticipation of the Super Bowl. Everywhere you look, you talk about police presence, the heightened security. You see that black unit here, that's a special response team. They have been camped out here as long as we've been here all week long. As you see more and more fans, the fans I've spoken to, when you ask them about the increased police presence, they welcome it. They said they feel safe, and they actually have been enjoying it and having a good time with law enforcement as well. You mentioned President Trump. He's going to be here tomorrow, Sunday. That should add anywhere from 200 to 300 extra Secret Service. I actually spoke to the special agent in charge with Homeland Security of the Super Bowl, and he says this is going to be the safest Super Bowl, Nick, in American history.
Well, Xavier, things look great behind you right now, and it seems like the weather and everything is on their side. NewsNation's Xavier Walton live on the ground for us in New Orleans. Xavier, thank you so much. Let's dive into all of this with Republican strategist Jeanette Hoffman, and on the other side, Democratic strategist and former New York State Senator David Carlucci. Good afternoon to you both.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Let me go ahead and start with you, David. Mr. Trump is making history by attending tomorrow's game. Is he aiming for some good PR after the backlash his administration has been facing, or is he just a fan?
Well, of course, he's looking for good PR, and I think he's smart to go. It's kind of, I scratch my head and I wonder why former presidents have not attended the Super Bowl. I mean, hey, if they can get tickets, they should be there, right? I know most elected officials, there's often conflicts with attending sporting events and things like that. But what better PR, right, than to be the president, be at the Super Bowl. There's going to be a lot of talk about the president in between plays. So I think it's a smart play for him. And I don't see why every president wouldn't do it from now on. But yeah, I think he's trying to deflect as well. There's been a lot. He's been moving quickly, but a lot of questions and a lot of surprises. And people are just confused about what is his agenda. So I think this will be good publicity for him. I don't see why not.
Moving quickly, but only some are confused. Others are super excited, Jeanette, with his executive orders. Like tomorrow may be the only day he's not signing an executive order. With Mr. Trump's federal cuts suggesting that FEMA needs to be overhauled, how do you think, Jeanette, this move will help disaster and relief as North Carolina recovers from Hurricane Helene?
Yeah, well, this is what President Trump does best. Besides the fact that he loves to be with the people and be with the fans, I can't wait to see him at the Super Bowl. I think there's going to be a YMCA dance at some point in the end zone. But I mean, listen, he's going to talk about cutting red tape. He's a real estate guy. He's a business guy. He understands the burden of removing red tape when you're trying to rebuild in North Carolina. You're trying to recover from the wildfires in California. That's exactly what our country needs when we're recovering from these disasters. Getting past the bureaucracy of FEMA that the Democrats could not do under the Biden administration. So I think that's going to be very well received for these poor people in North Carolina that are still, some of them are still living in trailers and temporary apartments as they try and tragically recover from the terrible storms there. And as we talk about, a lot of the chaos and confusion, I think that's intentional. He's flooding the zone. He's really, trying in the first month to get a lot of the initiatives that the American people wanted him to do very fast.
A federal judge has blocked Musk and his Doge team from accessing Treasury records. Let's take a listen to House Democrats' message to Musk.
We're here to say with one voice, fire Elon Musk. An unelected, unaccountable billionaire now has seemingly unlimited powers over Americans' private data and over Americans' taxpayer dollars.
Elon Musk is anti-worker and anti-labor. Elon Musk, we've got a message for you. You will be fired.
Nobody elected Elon Musk to be president, but he has his grimy hands all over our administration.
Jeanette, I'm going to throw that right at you. No one elected Elon Musk. Are they right to say he's going too far? What are the consequences of Musk's access to millions of Americans' sensitive data?
Well, the Democrats are going to use their rhetoric and they're going to hold their press conferences and they're going to say what they're going to say. But the fact of the matter is President Trump appointed him as I think a special employee. I think that's what he's called right now, to work at Doge and get rid of some of the government waste. As we just heard before, one of the members of Congress has said, our debt is really crippling the next generation of Americans, and we need to cut government spending. The process right now is a little confusing. It's a little muddled. As we talked about, a federal judge has halted some of the things that Elon is doing right now. I think that process is going to get reexamined. And I think our members of Congress are going to be tasked with cutting spending in the next round of reconciliation as well. So I don't think it's just Doge that has that task at hand. But I think overall, the American people are supportive of efforts to cut waste and to cut spending and to make government more accountable and to lower their taxes.
David, supportive of cutting waste, but this seems to be a bridge too far.
That's right. That's right. Look, we want to revitalize government, not destroy it. And that's what it seems like Elon Musk is doing. He's just going in there with a machete, a baseball bat, whatever you want to call it, with no regards to a plan. Look, I want to save money. I want money back in my pocket and Americans' pockets, but there is no strategy, no plan for that. Just to say and point fingers and call people wasteful and bureaucrats and hide behind it, that's one thing. But they're not showing one dime of savings. And in fact, these employees that they want to fire, then you hear Donald Trump's press person saying, oh, we're probably going to rehire people. This is more of a loyalty test than a competency issue. And that's the problem. People are concerned. You're talking about their sensitive data, and we don't have any safeguards in place. Donald Trump is allowing for these safeguards to go out the window, and that's what people are concerned about. This isn't Democratic or Republican. Yes, Democrats have the courage to stand up and talk about it. Republicans are just confused and bewildered and put their faith in Donald Trump out of fear. But look, we need safeguards. We need to reform our government. We need efficiency. We don't need someone in there with a baseball bat.
Jeanette?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would say that they're going, as the press secretary said a couple days ago, they're going line by line, program by program, and seeing what has value and what doesn't. And I think the American people would overall be supportive of that. Listen, there were also...
We would, but we have not seen that.
Well, they did that with USAID and some of those programs.
No, USAID, they said, was a criminal organization. And that is
And Jeanette, since you said that, Jeanette, though, I do want to ask you, though, who determines what does and does not have value? Should we leave that to Elon Musk?
Well, listen, the American people elected President Trump. He set up Doge. There will be discussions of whether Elon Musk is in charge, but I think President Trump has the power right now to set up these organizations and to go line by line. And then, of course, we have an appropriations process. We have Congress. They're setting the budget. The Senate GOP is meeting right now with President Trump to determine what the reconciliation process is going to go forward, looking like how we're going to fund President Trump's initiatives. Because as we know, we do have, two power structure where the Congress holds the power of the purse and they fund the government going forward. So that process is playing out as well.
I think Donald Trump should get that message, because it seems like the plan he put in effect just this past week was to freeze federal funding that Congress has allocated. That is against the rules. You know that, I know that, but it seems like—
I agree with you, David, and we saw that the federal court—
And Jeanette, David, you both know that we will continue to follow this because this is far from over. Jeanette Hoffman and David Carlucci, thank you both for a fun-filled Saturday afternoon.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. President Trump now announcing he's firing members of the Board of Trustees for the Kennedy Center and naming himself as chairman. He also indicated that he would be dictating programming there. Kennedy Center representatives responding, saying in part, quote, "The Kennedy Center is aware of the post made recently by the president on social media. We have received no official communications from the White House regarding changes to our Board of Trustees. We are aware that some members of our board have received termination notices from the administration. There is nothing in the center's statute that would prevent a new administration from replacing board members. However, this would be the first time such action has been taken with the Kennedy Center's board." President Trump saying he's revoking former President Joe Biden's access to government secrets and ending his daily intelligence briefings. Mr. Biden did the same thing to Mr. Trump back in 2021. Now, Mr. Trump previously revoked security clearances from more than 4 dozen former intelligence officials who signed a 2020 letter claiming the Hunter Biden laptop saga bore the hallmarks of a, quote, Russian information operation. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says President Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st U.S. state is a real thing and is linked to the country's rich natural resources. Mr. Trudeau's comments to business and labor leaders in a closed-door session were mistakenly carried by a loudspeaker. Trump has repeatedly suggested Canada would be better off if it agreed to become a U.S. state. Trudeau's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And Democrats locked out of the Department of Education. Mr. Trump readying to dismantle the agency as Elon Musk's Doge faces new judicial roadblocks. We're showing you live pictures of protesters in Tel Aviv right now after more hostages were reunited with their loved ones earlier today. But will this Israel-Hamas ceasefire make it to the next phase? And sanctuary cities preparing for battle against Trump administration's immigration crackdown. How local leaders are responding to threats to inundate them.
With fatigue and lightheadedness, I knew something was wrong. Then I saw my doctor and found out I have AFib. And that means there's about a 5 times greater risk of stroke. Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if you have AFib, the risk of stroke is always there. If you have one or more symptoms, get checked out. Making that appointment can help you get ahead of stroke risk. This is no time to wait.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Nobody likes a cracked windshield. But at least you can go to SafeLight.com and schedule a fix in minutes.
Can confirm. Very easy.
SafeLight can come to you for free. And our highly trained techs can replace your windshield right at your home.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Go to SafeLight.com and schedule a replacement today.
The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor tracks your glucose in real time. And over time, it can help lower your A1C. This is progress. Learn more and try for free at freestylelibre.us.
Stamps.com gives you the flexibility to print postage on your own schedule, wherever you are. mail letters, and ship packages. Get more flexibility and more freedom to take charge of your day. Start your risk-free trial today at Stamps.com.
Yeah, dude, that doesn't look good.
I know what to do. I'm going to cashnetusa.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, I can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to cashnetusa.com to apply for the money you need.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Touch can mean so many things, even for people with moderate to severe eczema. Touch can make two feel like one, or simply be a helping hand. Dupixent can help you stay ahead of eczema as you welcome the feeling of touch. Dupixent helps block a key source of inflammation inside the body that can cause eczema to help heal your skin from within. Many adults saw 90% clearer skin. Some even achieved long-lasting clearer skin. And fast itch relief after the first dose. Severe allergic reactions can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain, vision changes, or blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma or other medicines without talking to your doctor. Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists, helps you feel the heal. See the difference for yourself. Reach out to your eczema specialist today.
Where are you headed?
Where am I headed? Am I just going to take what the market gives me? No, I can do some research.
You know, that's backed by JP Morgan's leading strategists, like us.
When you want to invest with more confidence, the answer is JP Morgan Wealth Management.
Weeknights, trust NewsNation to bring you the day's events with critical thought from all sides. Analysis that's tough but fair. In search of the truth. The new primetime on NewsNation, Monday, starting at 7 Eastern.
Welcome back. 22 minutes after the hour, a tense showdown unfolding in Washington as Democratic members of the House Oversight Committee protesting in response to reports that President Trump plans to shut down the Department of Education. They attempted to gain access to the department's offices and were denied.
A would-be king who thinks that he can dismantle the Department of Education without congressional concurrence. Give it a tug there. We're members of Congress. We're members of Congress.
We're coming in. Don't lock the door. We're coming in. Who are you?
You're not coming in.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
They won't even open the door to this building to members of Congress.
The possible executive order abolishing the Department of Education would be fulfilling Trump's campaign promises to shrink the size of the federal government and return education decisions to the states. But Democratic lawmakers fear dismantling the department would be devastating to students across the country and say that legally, the power to abolish the department rests with Congress and not the president. Joining me now is Nichole Berlie, the president and founder of Parenting Defending Education. Ms. Neely, good afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
Nichole, Democratic Representative Maxwell Frost was one of those who tried to gain access, and he later posted this on X. They're blocking members of Congress from entering the Department of Education. Elon is allowed in and not the people. Illegal. Is Frost correct in saying that denying them entry was illegal? And why are Musk and his Doge team getting access when members of Congress can't?
You know, I have no insight into Elon's operations, but I am, glad that finally Congress is paying attention to the Department of Education, period. We just watched the NAEP scores come out. The bottom fell out yet again of student achievement in this country. I mean, we have so many children that cannot read or do math at grade level. Last session, the Senate only held one hearing. It was the last hearing they had on education overall. The Senate Help Committee didn't care to talk about education whatsoever. And so the fact that they actually care where the building is now, I think, is a terrific change of pace. But the fact is that the department has not done a very good job over the past several decades it's been in existence. And so If the president signing an executive order is going to focus people's attention on what the children of this country need, I say so much the better.
You know, Ms. Neely, I'm not going to say that you're right, but I will tell you there was a discussion in the newsroom. How many members of Congress actually knew where that building was before this photo op moment appeared? But I do want to ask you, though, Representative Latifah Simmons was one of the most outspoken members of Congress at the protest. Here's what she had to say.
I think it should be clear to parents in the United States, if you want to advocate on behalf of your children, you are not allowed to come into this building where you pay taxes. Parents who have children who are disabled, access is being blocked. You voted for members of Congress to advocate on behalf of your children, children with disabilities.
Ms. Neely, is all of this a distraction, or do you think she has a point that denying access to the Department of Education and possibly dismantling it could make it difficult for parents to advocate for their children, particularly those maybe with special needs?
So I actually testified before the House Education Committee on Wednesday, and most of those members were not in attendance. And so for them to go and do a photo stunt outside of the building, I think is a little bit shameful because it shows where their priorities are. Their priorities are with re-election. It's not actually with addressing student achievement in this country. And so, no, I mean, I think, you know, does getting into the building, does that make a difference? As of right now, I believe there are only 20 political appointees there. For the most part, these are just line bureaucrats that have been there. So these are non-political people. These are people who deal with incoming inquiries from families all of the time. But I run a parent organization that was labeled, you know, a domestic, we were called domestic terrorists by the Biden administration. We were held at arm's length. And actually, we had a lawsuit against the Biden administration because they created a National Parent and Family Engagement Council. And they didn't do so. They violated the Federal Advisory Committee Act. And they didn't do so through an act of Congress, through proper notice and comment, or through having intellectual diversity on it. They had a rubber stamp committee. And so if this Department of Education is concerned with actual parent engagement, again, I think it's good because there has not been such a thing in the past.
And Mr. Trump has also sounded off, firing back at those protesters on Friday.
Oh, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, you know, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country. We want great education. So they rank 40 countries in education. We're ranked dead last. Dead last.
Now, I'm not sure that the United States is dead last, but we're definitely low. Like you pointed out, students are struggling with reading, writing, and arithmetic. What is the state of the American education system? And does Mr. Trump have a point that something needs to be done?
We have been spending money hand over fist for the past 40 years that this department has been in existence. In the meantime, proficiency levels have dropped. Frankly, you know, the Department of Education doesn't provide a huge amount of money to local school districts. What they do is they collect taxpayer dollars from everywhere, send it to Washington, skim money off the top, and then send it back to states and localities with a bunch of strings attached to it. And so if we are able to cut out the middleman and then also eliminate some of the duplication, I mean, why do we have two offices for civil rights in both the Department of Education and the Department of Justice? I think there's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse that's been taking place. We as a country in the wake of COVID dumped $189 billion into our education system, and that didn't affect student achievement numbers whatsoever. We spend a huge amount on per pupil spending. And again, children are not doing well. Children are not thriving. And so I think it's time for a significant course correction, be that block grants back to the states, or be that something else. The current status quo is absolutely not working. It's failing our children before our eyes.
And Ms. Neely, I think that's what the bottom line is right there. The current status quo, I think everyone can agree, is simply not working, and we see that evidenced with our own children. Linda McMahon is Trump's pick for Education Secretary. Now, her confirmation hearing is set for Thursday, but her tenure may be short-lived, according to the president.
I told Linda, I hope you do a great job and put yourself out of a job. And what I want to do is let the states run schools.
States running schools. Do you think abolishing the Department of Education would improve school choice? And what would happen if Secretary McMahon and her department actually get dismantled?
I think many people forget that the Department of Education was only created in 1979. And so we as a country got along perfectly fine without having this federal role in the past. We won back-to-back world wars without having a federal Department of Education. And since its inception, it has frankly just become a conduit for interest groups and teachers unions to get their priorities advanced rather than what families need and what students need. So I don't think it would be a bad thing necessarily.
And Ms. Neely, I'll give you the last word on this. I just want to ask you, Representative Bobby Scott was one of those Democrats protesting on Friday, proposing a long-shot idea to stop Mr. Trump's plans.
And if we can get 3 Republicans to join us on the committee, we can stop everything they want to do. And if it gets out of committee, we need 3 Republicans in the United States to join us to block what they want to do in abolishing the Department of Education.
And again, Ms. Neely, if the idea is to get 3 Republicans to join you to continue the status quo, I think that plea is probably going to fall on deaf ears. But do you think the Democrats will be able to pull 3 members of the GOP to their side if there is a strategic change?
I mean, looking at how the House Republican caucus is right now, I think if you have 3 Republicans, you have 6 opinions. And so I think, you know, it's anybody's game at this point. So I'm not good at political prognostications, but, you know, I think it's you know, who knows?
Well, Ms. Neely, can I just tell you how much I appreciate your fire and your passion on the behalf of students and children who continue to suffer while everyone else continues to wring their hands and do nothing to actually help students in the classroom. Nichole Neely, the president and founder at Parents Defending Education, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're looking at live pictures of protesters in Tel Aviv right now on your screen. They're holding up signs asking for the relocation of the hostages and all of them home now. This after Hamas released 3 pale and frail Israeli hostages in the latest exchange of the Gaza ceasefire agreement. We'll hear from a mother who is still anxiously awaiting for her son to be returned. That's next. Plus, San Francisco joining sanctuary cities across the nation fighting back against President Trump's immigration crackdown. How the White House is responding. Ahead.
Elizabeth Vargas Reports, starting Monday at a new time, 7/6 Central on NewsNation.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for.
Sling lets you do that.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want. Sling lets you do that. Yeehaw! I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for and let me pause my subscription when I want and have hundreds of free channels. Sling lets you do that too.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
At Fisher Investments, we may look like other money managers, but we're different.
You can't be that different.
We are. We have a team of specialists not only in investing, but also in financial and estate planning and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, and as a fiduciary, we always put their interests first.
But you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, we have a simple management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Huh, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Stamps.com gives you a lot of flexibility. Print postage and schedule free carrier pickups on your time. Start your risk-free trial today at Stamps.com.
The itch and rash of moderate to severe eczema disrupts my skin night and day. Despite treatment, it's still not under control. But now I have Rinvoq. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that reduces the itch and helps clear the rash of eczema fast. Some taking Rinvoq felt significant itch relief as early as 2 days, and some achieved dramatic skin clearance as early as 2 weeks. Many saw clear or almost clear skin.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin, serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events. Infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Disrupt the itch and rash of eczema. Talk to your dermatologist about Rinvoq.
Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
When our country needed you, you answered the call. You took the oath. You served. And you sacrificed to defend our great country. Visiting Angels knows veterans. You are the heroes among us. And we are honored to serve you.
Visiting
This is the story of the one. The one knows that when the big game is days away, the unexpected can put everything on the line. But with a solid game plan and a teammate like Grainger that she can rely on to deliver the product she needs when she needs it, she's confident that she will always win the day. And her team will do the same. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
35 minutes after the hour, and guess what? Tomorrow is the biggest game of the year. You knew that, the Super Bowl, right? So how are you taking in this rematch of Titans? Will the Eagles get the redemption against the team that beat them 2 years ago? Or will Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift's boyfriend do what's never been done before, win 3 straight Super Bowls? I don't know. Oh, what are we going to do? All right, the question attempted to be answered by thousands of people by placing bets. According to the American Gaming Association, around 1.39 billion people will be gambling tomorrow. But there's much more than picking who will win. Cover the spread, score a touchdown, and how long the national anthem will be. There are some wacky bets out there, right? Here's a look at some of the popular prop bets being placed this year. The biggest one being the coin toss, right? Which was the most popular bet placed last year. It also has some of the best odds with a 50-50 shot of winning, literally a coin flip. But there's also the over-under for how long the national anthem will be. The predicting of the halftime show performance, it doesn't stop there. What's your favorite Gatorade? What about each team's? Well, you can bet on what color will be splashed on the winning coach. The betting favorite is purple, but maybe an orange or blue can sneak in there, right? I'm going to tell you, I want some type of cherry red or something like that. How about that? And then, don't worry, Swift fans, I haven't forgotten about you, okay? Because there's one bet gaining lots of traction right now. Will Travis Kelce finally take a knee and propose to Taylor Swift? If you think so, you actually have 8-1 odds he'll pop the big question tomorrow. But the odds are heavily leaning toward he ain't gonna do that. But it doesn't stop there. Some betting sites have Taylor Swift themed bets, right? FanDuel introducing Swiftie specials, bets with Taylor Swift themed names like Cruel Summer. That's just one over 15 themed prop bets that you can make, all right? I got a blank space. I'll write your name. How about that? If you decide to gamble tomorrow, please remember to do so responsibly. The best of luck to each of you. And good luck to both the Chiefs and the Eagles. It's going to be a good game. Sanctuary cities gearing up for a fight against the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
In Illinois, we have grit. We are tough. We are strong. And Donald Trump has no idea what he's up against when he attacks Illinois.
Why local leaders say that despite efforts to intimidate them, they're not backing down.
Despite being on an antidepressant, I was still masking my depression symptoms.
My doctor said it could be because my antidepressant alone wasn't enough, so she recommended an add-on treatment. She recommended adding Rexulti.
When taken with an antidepressant, Rexulti was proven to significantly reduce depression symptoms, more than an antidepressant alone.
So with my antidepressant, Rexulti could provide a boost.
Elderly people with dementia-related psychosis have increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Call your healthcare provider right away to report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Could adding Rexulti
be right for you?
Ask your doctor about adding Rexulti.
Safe Flight Repair.
Perfecting your swing is hard.
Nice shot, Dad. Oh. Safe Flight Replace.
But replacing your windshield doesn't have to be. Go to safelight.com and we can come to you.
Sick.
Our highly trained techs can replace your windshield where you are, even if that's right in your driveway.
Have a good day. I love you.
SafeLight makes it easy. Go to safelight.com and schedule a replacement today.
Safe Flight Repair. Safe Flight Replace. Woo!
ShipStation lets you keep up with the growth of your business. You can sync inventory and manage returns across all your sales channels, so you ship the right products to the right customers. Head to ShipStation.com to start your free trial.
Yoo-hoo! You're making everything orange.
We're showing where consumer cellular gets great coverage.
We use the same towers as Big Wireless, so you get the same coverage.
Wow.
For unlimited talk and text with reliable coverage and your second month free, call Consumer Cellular.
Slow down.
Cut! I get it. Slow motion. Slow down geographic atrophy. But we don't need gimmicks. Stick to the facts. GA, the advanced form of dry AMD, can irreversibly damage your vision. But Syfovre is an FDA-approved eye injection that gives you the power to slow GA. Syfovre was proven to slow GA lesion growth over 2 years with increasing effect over time. It's the only treatment to slow GA in as few as 6 doses per year.
Don't take Syfovre if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye that may include pain and redness or are allergic to it. Syfovre can cause severe allergic reactions. Other serious side effects are eye infection and retinal detachments, severe inflammation of vessels in the retina, which may result in severe vision loss, wet AMD, eye inflammation, and an increase in eye pressure. Most common side effects are eye discomfort, wet AMD, small specks floating in vision, and blood in the white of the eye. Tell your doctor right away if you have any side effects.
Act on facts to slow GA. Ask your retina specialist about Syfovre. Nope, just the facts.
Thinking of updating my kitchen?
Yeah?
Yes. This year, we are finally updating our kitchen. Doing subway tile and an ivory or eggshell. Cream, maybe bone. Don't get me started on quartz. Big island. You ever heard of a waterfall counter?
For everyone who talks about doing that thing,
over there,
but never does that thing,
sweet little breakfast nook.
Chase has financial guidance.
See how you can start saving to make this happen.
Really?
Really?
Really.
At home or in
You
person.
could also check out a Chase Money Skills workshop.
That's guidance from Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Sanctuary cities fighting back against President Trump's executive orders cracking down on illegal immigration. San Francisco is teaming up with other major counties and cities to file a lawsuit against the Trump administration. They say the administration is illegally trying to force local authorities to comply with immigration policies by threatening to take away federal funding. It comes one day after the Justice Department filed their own lawsuit targeting the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago, arguing that sanctuary city policies interfere with immigration enforcement efforts. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he ain't backing down.
You know, as they come and try to attack the state of Illinois, and that's what they're doing, you know, the lawsuits are against laws on the books in Illinois. I mean, unlike Donald Trump, we follow the law in Illinois. Now, maybe they put up with this kind of garbage in Florida, which is the home state of the head of the DOJ. But in Illinois, we have grit, we are tough, we are strong, and Donald Trump has no idea what he's up against when he attacks Illinois.
Grit, tough, and strong, and has no idea what he's up against when he attacks Illinois. Joining me now is the former acting ICE director under President Barack Obama, John Sandwick. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You heard those tough words there from Mr. Pritzker. Do you think we will see more of these lawsuits, and what do you expect the outcome to be?
Well, historically and traditionally, the courts have, ruled in favor of the states, right? The states generally have a right to create their own laws and enforce and restrict access inside their state court facilities. This all boils down really to the jails, though. What ICE really wants is access to Illinois' jails. The Illinois sanctuary law prohibits ICE from accessing the jails. But traditionally, the states have won these lawsuits. It'll be interesting to see how the court rules in this one.
And John, it seems to me also that the American people don't necessarily understand states fighting the deportation of those who may be there illegally. Is Mr. Pritzker fighting an uphill battle with this one?
You know, look, politically, it's unclear where the country is right now. I think obviously there's very strong support for the deportation of individuals who have committed crimes or pose a serious threat to public safety. But the reality is when we start looking at the numbers, and we haven't seen all the numbers coming out yet from the Trump's, the operations they were conducting the last 2 weeks, but we're going to see that a lot of these individuals have no nexus to the criminal justice system. And I think the country's probably a little bit more mixed in their opinion there. But look, when it comes to on this particular issue with regards to the Illinois law, it is very restrictive. And what it does do is it prohibits ICE from coming into the jail and taking into custody people convicted of, including people convicted of very serious crimes, absent a federal arrest warrant, which is very difficult for ICE to get. So I do think on an issue like this, it has always struck me that these laws, in Illinois probably go a step too far. But then again, I think the state does have the right to enforce its own laws.
Well, New York City Mayor Eric Adams reportedly set to clarify a controversial memo his administration sent out earlier this week, suggesting that New York City workers should comply with ICE agents if they feel in danger. New York is a sanctuary city. However, we are seeing a growing alliance between Mayor Adams and Mr. Trump. Could this lead to Mayor Adams complying with Mr. Trump's immigration orders?
Well, there's some state laws in New York that restrict him, right? And he can face litigation or legal challenges there in the state of New York if he exceeds the state laws. I think that one thing there's misconception here out there, I just want to make clear to everybody, and especially in a place like New York, ICE is free, and generally it would arguably be a federal crime if state officials or city officials restricted ICE agents who are doing operations in the city. They can't block ICE from going out and arresting people at their houses. So really what these fights boiled down to is access to state facilities, courthouses, sometimes hospitals, but really primarily jails. Look, Mayor Adams has his own motivations, of course, for getting close to the Trump administration. But he does need to be careful. If he runs afoul of the state of New York law, he could face state challenges in New York under New York law for violating those restrictions.
Yeah, two very different approaches from two Democratic mayors in two very Democratic cities. Mayor Eric Adams is set to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee alongside other sanctuary city mayors, Chicago's Brandon Johnson, Denver's Mike Johnston, and Boston's Michelle Wu. Why does immigration need to be tackled as a national issue, or is it possible for cities to maintain their own separate policies?
Look, I think that ideally for all of us here, we get common sense, working together between the state and the feds. When I was working at ICE, we worked very collaboratively with a lot of state police. They can be very valuable in terms of finding dangerous individuals and getting them off the streets. Unfortunately, the politics just always get in the way with immigration. And so you start seeing some of these cities, some states take these incredible, non-common sense approaches where they say, you're not going to touch anyone in our jails, even if they've been convicted of violent crimes. But the reality is if you just let the professionals work together and depoliticize this, I think it works out well. We can respect it when a state police chief says, hey, I can't have you getting all the immigrants in my jail. We're going to not let you take the people for driving without a license. I don't want you to get access to them because it could create a chilling effect, make immigrant communities scared of reporting crimes to me, the police department. I can respect that, and I think that's a legitimate concern. We just need to work collaboratively and work it out. Unfortunately, we're kind of entering an era where it's going to be the opposite, and I think we're going to see lawsuits, from the states against the federal government against the states. And look, it could even get to the point where they've threatened criminal prosecutions. There are statutes that you can be prosecuted federally for harboring or shielding a migrant from removal. I don't think it'll ever get that far, but certainly already the administration's been making some of those threats as well.
But the administration is also having a problem with bed space, right? They're struggling to keep up with detention space for all the arrests that they're making. Now, the Federal Bureau of Prisons says they will now start holding some of the arrested migrants, but it still won't be enough space for Trump's ambitious deportation plans. Are the members of the Trump administration, under ICE, under his administration, moving too quickly?
Well, look, I think the question will be depending on who they're moving against, if you ask me. I think that ICE needs to be focused on public safety first and foremost. I worry we're getting into an era where there's putting quotas on ICE agents to increase the number of arrests. And the reality of immigration enforcement is it's just a lot easier if you're wanting massive numbers of arrests to get the non-criminal population. They're easier to find. Oftentimes they're checking in with ICE. They're under some sort of supervision. But from a detention capacity, what I think we're going to see more of is the Department of Defense. The Trump, in the executive orders he issued on day one, he directed the Department of Defense to supplement ICE's detention capacity. Obviously, we've seen Guantanamo. That has been a very limited number of migrants at this point, but I don't think we're very far away from seeing large detention camps being built inside military bases where they anticipate housing potentially tens of thousands of migrants.
John, I just don't understand why governors or leaders would not support the removal of those who have committed violent crimes. That one still boggles the mind. But thank you so much for trying to break it down for us. Former acting ICE director under President Barack Obama, John Sedgwick. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we'll be right back with more News Nation after the break.
Inside the NFL covers the Super Bowl with style.
Bill Belichick, dressed like me. So this is what we're doing, Coach? That's what we're doing.
Inside the NFL. Season finale this Wednesday at 9/8 Central on the CW.
Still have moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms after taking a medication like Humira or Remicade? Put them in check with Rinvoq, a once-daily pill.
When symptoms try to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
When flares try to slow me down, I got lasting remission with Rinvoq. Check. And many were in remission, even at nearly 2 years.
And Rinvoq helped visibly reduce damage of the intestinal lining. Check.
Rapid symptom relief, lasting remission.
And visibly reduced damage. Check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin, serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50+ with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events: infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Put UC and Crohn's in check and keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq.
Stamps.com gives you the freedom and flexibility you need to run your business. You can print stamps or shipping labels. And schedule pickups that fit into your day. Enjoy your newfound flexibility with Stamps.com. Start your risk-free trial today.
Gusto is the #1 choice for small business payroll. It's fast. It's trusted. It's a great value. And when it comes to running your business, it's the best choice you can make. Get started for free at gusto.com.
America is celebrating the start of President Trump's second term. Now, for a limited time, you can get the Kid's Guide to President Trump and a limited edition collectible pin for free. Hurry, supplies are very limited. Visit freetrumpbundle.com now. That's freetrumpbundle.com.
For the most comfortable, luxurious, eco-friendly, and affordable, handcrafted American-made mattresses on the market today. Delivered and set up in any room of your house. Saatva, luxury mattresses made affordable.
When you live with diabetes, progress is having your coffee like you like it, without an audience. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor tracks your glucose in real time, so everyone else doesn't have to. And over time, it can help lower your A1C. Confident choices for more control of your life. This is progress. Learn more and try for free at freestylelibre.us.
I love my work caring for people. I often assist women who struggle with urinary incontinence, women who have fallen trying to reach the bathroom, or who have damaged skin from too much wetness. It can take a toll on them. At home, I worried for my mother. A lack of sleep due to bladder leakage affected her life. That's why I'm so glad the Purex system is available for home use. It's an innovative option for women who experience moderate to severe bladder leakage. This external system uses a soft, flexible wick placed outside the body to draw urine away from the body and into a collection canister. It's non-invasive and designed to keep the skin dry and stay in place. We trust it to help her throughout the night, so we're all better rested and can enjoy the things we love together.
Order yours online at purewicathome.com or call 800-508-6010 today. New external catheters for women and men available for home use. Call 800-508-6010 today.
Welcome back. 53 minutes after the hour. Hamas releasing a 5th round of Israeli hostages today in exchange for 183 Palestinian prisoners. Eli Sharabi, Or Levy, and Ohad Ben Ami have just been freed in the latest swap of the fragile ceasefire in Gaza that is now held for 3 weeks. After 16 months in captivity, the 3 men appeared pale and in worse condition than previous hostages Hamas has released. Israel and Hamas have both committed to negotiating a longer-lasting truce, but it's unclear whether the two sides can reach a deal, as both would be forced to make painful concessions. This exchange also comes under the shadow of President Trump's controversial proposal for the U.S. to remove Gaza's roughly 2 million residents and turn it into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. Some analysts view his remarks as an effort to kickstart the negotiations, while others say his idea could torpedo them. The FAA confirms a plane found in Alaska is the wreckage of a Bering Air Flight 445. The aircraft was located roughly 34 miles southeast of Nome, Alaska, and 3 deceased individuals were found inside. 9 passengers and the pilot were on board that aircraft. Officials said they believe the remains of the other 7 individuals are inside the wreckage, but are currently inaccessible due to the conditions of that plane. The plane experienced a drop in speed and elevation prior to disappearing. The National Transportation Safety Board will be investigating that crash. An arrest has been made in connection with the death of a sports reporter while in New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl. Police say they have arrested Danette Colbert after Adam Manzano was found unresponsive in his hotel room. Now, according to authorities, Colbert was using a credit card belonging to Manzano at several shops in the New Orleans area. She was also seen on video at the hotel on Wednesday and leaving the room alone later in the morning. Colbert has not been charged with his death, but was booked on property crimes, including fraud and theft of related offenses. Security heightened in New Orleans as President is set to make history tomorrow. He will be attending the Super Bowl, the first sitting president to do so ever. Our Xavier Walton is on the ground with the latest from New Orleans. Plus, we're following Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as she makes her way through Asheville, North Carolina, damaged by Hurricane Helene. She will be giving a press conference in the next hour. As soon as she begins to speak, we will take you there.